Hey everybody, it's Mike Peasall, pastor at Gateway Christian Center here in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. And today is Wednesday, July 5th, and this is Mike's Midweek message. I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July. We did. We had a little bit longer weekend, and today I'm trying to play catch up. But I've had a great weekend. Started Friday with getting to catch up with some friends from high school, and then had great family time. We had a great worship service here Sunday, great fellowship meal. And ended it up last night shooting off fireworks at my son-in-law and daughter's house, and we had a wonderful time. So I hope you did as well. And that kind of leads into the topic of the day, and that is the difference between taking time and making time. Now maybe there's not a whole lot of difference, but when we think about relationships that we have, we should always take time to communicate. We should always take time to be with those people who are closest to us, but sometimes we don't take the time. So then I think we have to go to the next level, which is we actually have to make time. We have to make time be important. Sally and I, we've been married, 38 years. She announced Sunday. I'd forgotten that I've been the pastor at Gateway for 17 years, and we've raised 6 kids. We've done 4 weddings. We've got 6 grandchildren with a 7th on the way. We've been in ministry. We traveled for 10 years on the road. We've been busy, and every once in a while we'll look at each other and go, "Wow, why is our life so busy? Is there ever any downtime?" And so and it got me thinking. And then that very next day, in one of my quiet times studies that I do. They threw out the idea about putting something on the schedule. And then it got me thinking, and I really felt like it was the Lord was saying, if you scheduled time with a person, say there was a person that you really need to spend some time with, but you only snatch and grab a few seconds here and a few seconds there, like your spouse or one of your children. What if you were to do this, and it's a practical thing? What if you were to say, "Hey, let's sit down and let's have a cup of coffee. And as long as this cup of coffee lasts, we're going to turn our phones off. We're going to put ourselves where there's no other distractions, but we're going to slowly sip on this coffee and just spend that amount of time with each other. We're going to go for a walk. We're going to do something where there's a set, maybe not a set time, but we know that it's going to be more than just a minute or so. It's going to be a prolonged time together." So when this weekend also, I went to get some fireworks and met up with another young friend, and he was just asking me, you have had all those daughters. He was just asking me for ideas about how he could spend time with his daughter. And the more I thought about it, I realized, hey, look, the fact that you're asking that question, it puts you light years ahead of a lot of people who just take all that for granted. It's like, I'll say goodbye to them or walk, I'll speak to them as we walk past each other or something. But you have to be intentional about spending time with the people who are important in your life. You've got to do that. Monday, Sally, my wife, loves to kayak. Me, not so much, but she loves to kayak. And so Monday morning, she was talking about this place up in Kentucky, and hey, we should go up there. And I was just like, okay, let's do it, And I loaded up the kayaks, and we loaded up some beverages, and she made us a lunch, and we drove about an hour and 15 minutes up into north of Lafayette, Tennessee, into Kentucky, and it's on the Barren River. It's a really cool place. But as we were driving up there, she just looked at me and she goes, "I know this isn't your favorite. Thanks for doing this. I know it isn't your favorite." And I said, "But you are my favorite, so it's all good." Kayaking isn't my favorite, but spending time with my wife is pretty good. That's the kind of connection that we also need to have with the Lord. You will not survive walking through the world, walking through this life as a Christian if you don't regularly connect with the Lord. And sometimes it's about, I'll take a minute here and I'll snatch a prayer here as I'm going to sleep, or, usually most people only pray when they're in danger, when they're in need, when they're in fear, or when they get really, really bad news. And that's usually, but to just spend time just telling God how awesome he is or how beautiful the world is. It doesn't have to be, crawl up under your bed and cover your head with a sack or something, but to be intentional about spending time with the Lord. And so I think about Daniel, and this is where this really began. Was I was thinking about how Daniel made it a habit to observe a morning and evening time of prayer. Some people say even maybe 3 days, 3 times a day. It was his practice. It was on his schedule to spend time praying. And one particular day he finds out the news is no one can pray to anyone other than the king or the image that the king made. And he promptly went straight home and he got in his prayer window as he normally did, and he prayed. Even in the process of being threatened, being told, if you do this, you'll be thrown into the lion's den, he was like, this is the scheduled thing I do. So it's pretty cool when you think about Daniel. I'm a quote unquote professional Christian. I struggle with it. You may struggle with it too. But what about Jesus? Jesus, we read in a lot of places, but like in Luke chapter 5, verses 15 and 16, he's been doing all these miracles. He's fed the 5,000 and all this. But now even more, the report about him went abroad, of course, and great crowds gathered to hear him and to be healed of their infirmities. But he would withdraw to the desolate place to pray. So if Jesus needs to schedule a time or take a time or make a time every day to spend with the Father, Jesus does, how much more do you and I need to? Because I need to be connected to the Lord on a regular basis, and I'm sure you do too. So I just wanted to give you that practical suggestion. I know that it might sound like, Mike, that sounds weird. Look, set your clock. Set a time. Say I'm gonna get up at whatever time. If you get up at 6 o'clock, say I'm gonna get up at 5:30. I'm gonna lose a half hour sleep. I'm gonna get up at 5:30. I'm gonna bump around whatever, and then by 5:40, 5:45, I'm gonna be sitting with my Bible open. I'm gonna read a passage or two. I'll find something online, a little reading thing. I'll do open windows or something like that, and then I'll just spend a few minutes. Even if you have to set your stopwatch on your phone, that's the only thing you want to use your phone for, though. You don't want to be scrolling Facebook or TikTok or whatever. But set it and say, you know what? I'm just going to tell God how awesome he is for 5 minutes. If you can't tell God how awesome he is for 5 minutes, then look around. Think about all the things that you have. Think about all the things you don't have. Think about all the things that God has blessed you with, and a lot of other people in the world can't do that. Or just think about his goodness. Think about his mercy. Think about his loving kindness. Have you failed him lately? I know I have. And guess what? His mercies are new every day. So I just want to encourage you, if you're not taking time, make time to be with Jesus every day. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week.